Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we're looking at Monroe County Water Authority, and we are discussing lead in drinking water and a lot of questions you might have about lead and some things to know. So first, lead in drinking water actually does not come from treatment plants usually. It comes from water mains, and it typically gets into drinking water as a result of corrosion of plumbing systems. So you have old systems with maybe corroding pipes. The lead leaks and then gets in there. It could also come from faucets that are older. It leaches, drinking fountains, or lead solder in the customer's homes. And the Water Authority has been testing the public water supply for lead since 1992. They can say with certainty that the water delivered from the distribution system to the customers does not contain harmful amounts of lead, and it's treated for optimal corrosion defined by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. So how does lead actually get into water? Well, first, the Water Authority is responsible for providing high-quality drinking water, but it can't control the variety of materials used in private plumbing components. And also, the water from the plant is treated for optimal corrosion, which minimizes the amount of lead that older plumbing, private fixtures, can release into the water, but it can't eliminate it entirely. So basically saying some of those particles leach in, and while it can be treated, there are some that get through. And while testing indicates lead is not necessarily in the water that comes through, it could be possible that lead enters your water if it sits for long periods of time in private plumbing. So even if it comes from the water treatment plant and it's fine, if you have an old pipe, it's leaching lead, it's the water sitting there for a long time, it's going to get in there. Now, if lead is present in the water from a building's plumbing system, it's likely that the source of the lead comes from older plumbing materials, pipe, solder, fittings, and fixtures installed before the mid-1980s, and it may contain lead which can slowly release into the water, and Congress has banned the use of lead pipes and lead solder in 1986. In 1986, Congress also limited the amount of lead in brass to 8%, and later in 2014 reduced the limit to a much lower level. So, what are the Water Authority's leading test results? Well, the system's in. It's always been connected in compliance with federal and state standards for lead in drinking water. They test factory and affect water corrosiveness on a daily basis. And they also test the plants and all of them from Rochester and Erie County regularly for lead. In the last 30 years, there's only been a few detections at trace levels, and all about 1/10 of the EPA's action level or less. But as we know from this channel, there's no safe amount of lead. So even if it's a small amount, it can still be harmful to young children. According to the EPA and the Department of Health, once in every 3 years, they look at 70 homes and define this as the worst case or the highest risk for potential lead contaminations. And homes with lead service lines constructed before 1986 have the lead plumbing ban, and the system is always well below the regulatory action. So, can a water from my home's plumbing be tested for lead? The New York State Department of Health initiated a $1.5 million state program to test for lead in residential drinking water, and you can see the details right here for this program, and you can also see the difference between public portion and private portion of water service in this diagram right here. So, while there's a lot of good testing and lead is definitely decreasing, there can still be trace amounts here and there, and it may come from either inside your home or another source. That's why it's always a good idea to periodically test your water for any amount of lead.